more adhere to listen to what you have to say and what you recommend. So make sure you guys are sending any questions. We're not having any questions right now, so we're just going to keep doing the round table.
And one thing, go ahead. Sorry, Nick, I just want to throw in real quick. So I saw this, I thought it was so profound a couple days ago. There's this real estate agent, Ryan Serhant. He's a huge agent all over the world, but he said he owns a huge brokerage, and he said, I'm up here in my office by myself. Do I want to be here? Heck no. But the difference between amateurs and pros, or if you want to say new agents and elite agents, is the discipline. Amateurs can't discipline themselves enough to be here when they do not want to be here. Like, I got 2.5 hours of sleep last night. Do I want to be here right now? I love talking to these guys, but not really. Like, I'm tired, man. And do I want to text my point to set up my day after this? Not really. I would love to go back to sleep, but I know what it takes. And you have to have that discipline on the days that you don't want to do it. Like me and Nick were talking, I don't know, what was that, 3 weeks ago now? There's 50% of the time I don't want to do this. Like, I don't want to go through this every single day, but it's the discipline that I know what I have to do to provide for my family. I know this opportunity, what it takes, and the type of discipline it takes. And that's the difference between, 99.9% of this business is a head game. It's you versus you every single day. Like, you have to decide, okay, today's the day. I'm going to book my appointments. I'm not going to stop until I get 6 to 8 or 10, even better. But you have to decide, make that decision every single day that no matter what happened yesterday, no matter what happened last week, I'm going to keep doing the exact same thing every single day, because then the results will come.
Yeah. We got a question. It says, what should I do if we get into the final stages of the application and they won't sign? Did I not dig deep enough to find the need? Connor?
So the one thing I would say is make sure that you're not doing a soft close of just saying, hey, we just need to get you approved for it. I used to do that when I got started. I think a lot of newer agents do it. It's all about just the approval. And if you do that, the problem is that if your manager's teaching you that, I'm just being crystal clear with you, you're going to get a lot of chargebacks, because it's a very soft close. They're not agreeing to anything. They're just agreeing to get approved for it. That's why a lot of people have problems getting banking or socials, because it's a soft close. So the first thing I would focus on is when I tell a client, hey, Taylor, the next step is we have to get you approved for the coverage to get it in place. So I'm very adamant about, we got to have to get you approved to get it effective, because we want to make sure that your family's protected if something happens. Okay. That would be the first thing. That normally solves almost all the problems. But if you're having a problem normally it's not signatures, it would be banking. I have to say, like, if it was a signature thing, that's off the wall. I probably only have had 1 or 2 clients ever do that. So never take an outlier, something that's very rare. Like, by the way, like, I had an agent text me about this client who had like this crazy disease I've never heard of. You just move on to the next one. You're not going to deal with it again. It's an outlier. So if you have an outlier in your business, don't make it a big deal. But when it comes to banking, a lot of it is just confidence. Hey, Taylor, and I know this sounds funny, but hey, Taylor, do you want this to come out of your checking or your savings? That's all I do to ask banking. And you just say it confidently, but again, if you present it correctly, if you go through Noel's presentation, you've already answered any objections or questions that they have. So, I mean, Nick, everything, I was going to piggyback off of Taylor, but a lot of you get on this call every day too, and they're like, okay, I'm hearing all this, so what do I need to do to win? And a lot of you, I think where it's difficult is I think that you take what Nick and Taylor and what I'm saying to Noel as us just trying to be motivational, trying to motivate you to go do, to succeed in the business. But in reality, everything that we're saying is there's a lot of clarity if you read into it. So we talk about the lead investment. Lead investment is very important, okay? But then we talk about the presentation. In reality, I had to step back the other day, Nick, because I was all stressed out. Jamie, I was like, man, I feel like I don't have enough time in the day. Like, what am I doing wrong? And I said, you know what? I need to write down what we do. right? And I said, we book appointments, we run appointments, right? Pending is very important. And then we recruit, right? And that's really all we do. So in reality, what a lot of you don't realize is back when we used to dial the phone, which I still think you should dial if you don't get booked up by like 1 o'clock, but you had to master the phone first. That was the first thing you had to learn was mastering the phone. And even before we looked at the presentation, right, Noel? And like a lot of you on here, like, oh, well, the phone call's not that hard. People were having a lot of problems getting booked up, okay? And it was only like a two minute, oh goodness, my mind, see, we didn't sleep too well either with the baby, but the script was only like 2 minutes, and it wasn't a difficult script. And I used to get frustrated because just like the presentation, you shouldn't have to read notes. You shouldn't have to have it written out. It should be something that's memorized. When I first got started in the business, I memorized the mortgage lead script, okay? So then the second part is, right, so booking the appointments, it's already done. It's texting. All you have to do is copy and paste. That's not difficult, all right? Now, the second piece is the presentation, all right? On the presentation, like when we got started, we memorized a Taylor from Rob Jones' in-home video. We watched it every day. It wasn't we watched it once or twice and then we were trained. We watched it every day. I remember I used to watch it before my appointments and after my appointments every day. I would watch it in between appointments. I would watch it all the time because I needed to memorize it. I wanted to say things, like I would say the same jokes that was said in it, like to a T. And so a lot of you on here, you go, well, what do I need to do to succeed? You need to watch Noel's video and you do it exactly the same way. Like it's not like you veer off left or you veer right. You do it exactly the way she teaches. And then when you start doing 5,000 to 10,000 a week, then you can start to add a little bit more of your personality, or look, maybe try something, right? Because again, like I don't do things the exact same way that I did almost 5 years ago, but I didn't change anything until I had the base done, until I knew what I was doing, right? It's like if you're a cake decorator, well, you first got to learn how to bake a cake before you can start decorating it, right? Yeah. So again, so all I'm trying to say is basically if you're on this call and you're new and you're like, okay, I'm on this call every day, what do I need to do to win? Yeah. You need to learn the presentation.
Yeah. And what you'll do, Connor, when you learn that presentation, right, you're going to fumble your way through it and you'll make some mistakes and you'll get through that. But what you'll learn, and this is what I have learned, is I've gotten even more simple in my presentation. I emphasize certain words, right? I make sure that I'm making a point when I say that. I'll sit back sometimes, right? Because I know those are the key points in creating that pain. Rumbo says this: no pain, no sale. No pain, no sale. Learn that, because that is the deal in this business. No pain, no sale. And that goes back to this question right here. It says, speaking to find the pain point for a single, no children, homeowner with mortgage protection. I want to answer that, and I'll let you guys answer it, because yesterday it just hit me like a ton of bricks. Carlos Bastarda taught us a while back about living benefits. And that is what I hone in on with someone that's young with no kids, right? Because think about it, right? No pain, no sale. How am I going to talk to that 21-year-old, which I wrote one on Monday? How am I going to talk to that 21-year-old about pain, about leaving a burden behind to somebody when he's not married and doesn't have any kids, right? Or if he's divorced, and doesn't have any kids, or if he, so I really hone in on the living benefits. I even downplay, Connor, because I wrote, this guy's name was Samuel. I wrote him, I said, Samuel, your mortgage is 130. Okay. I said, what this will do, it will pay off the house. I mean, I'm sure your parents are still around. He said, yeah, mom and dad live up the road. He's in Alabama. And he said, I said, it'll pay off the house, but this wouldn't be why you would really get something like this. The reason you need something like this is because of the living benefits, Samuel. If you ever get critically, chronically, or terminally ill, have a heart attack, have a stroke. Samuel, I heard of a girl 2 weeks ago, 25 years old, that had a stroke, okay? If you ever get sick and you can't work, you're out of work, what this will do, you can file a claim and get anywhere between 25% and 90% of the death benefit that you choose tonight. All right. So Connor, what I did was I showed him 130 grand because that was his mortgage. All right, he's 21 years old. It's cheap. I showed him 175,000, and then I showed him a 200 grand. I said, Samuel, you qualify up to 400 grand. Which one would be best for you and your budget? He said, well, Nick, might as well. It doesn't make more sense to get to 200 because if I get sick, what'd you say it was? I said, yeah, you can get 90% up to 90% of the death benefit. You get a check for 180 grand. He said, well, let's just do that one. It's $40 a month. So I hit on the pain. That's the fundamentals that we talk about in this business. No pain, no sale. You got to get to the pain before you even show the quotes, right? So what Noelle does so well at, she sets the table in the presentation because somewhere along the way in that presentation, you're getting to that pain, right? How do you handle the young ones?
Same exact way. You hit the nail on the head. Yeah.
Or one thing that I've done is you talk about the future. I've done that a lot as well.
Yeah.
Because I bought my first house when I was 19, and I get it. A lot of people, when you're not married, no kids, you just feel like, hey, if I die, it just goes to the bank. But I normally talk to kids always. I say kids, they're my age. But I talk to people my age. I say, hey, at the end of the day, like right now, you're not married and don't have kids, but you would like to have wife and kids one day, right? Well, of course. Okay, well, it's better to do this now while it's still inexpensive than to wait long term.
Yeah.
So, but I would tell, again, don't use outliers as a way to look at your business. Like if you got a client that's 75 years old, that's a widow with no kids and no nieces or nephews anywhere, and people always go, well, how do I sell her? The answer, well, we're not trying to sell her. If there's no value, you don't do anything. That's the answer.
Taylor, take this one. Go over some rebuttals to text responses. They're already covered. They're not interested. It's a line of credit, or they've already met with someone. How do you handle those?
I don't know if there's really I don't send like a blanket text to them. It just kind of depends on what their situation is. If they say they're not interested in, I just say, to be clear, this is the coverage that you requested. You called in, went through some phone prompts if it's an IVR, or the coverage that you sent in. My job is just to have a conversation with you, see if this is even something I would recommend to you. I had one a couple days ago that said, we're already covered. I don't think we need this coverage. I texted her back and said, hey, Wendy, I don't know if you need the coverage either. My job is just to have the conversation with you and see if it's even something I recommend in your situation. If it's not, I'll be the first to tell you don't need the coverage, and book the appointment. So just little stuff like that. Like people just like when people give you an objection like that, it's because they're scared as can be to be sold. Mm-hmm. We're not selling something. We're providing a solution if there is a problem. And 9 times out of 10, when you sit down with somebody, there's a problem. They may think they have $150,000 in coverage and that's all the money in the world, but in the grand scheme of things, not a lot of money. Or more often than not, both these guys know, most people don't have what they actually think they have. Yeah. When you sit down and actually look at the policy and go through it. So just be real with people. Like if there's somebody that doesn't need the coverage, I don't have a problem saying, hey, you don't need the coverage. I'm not going to recommend this to you. And yeah, that's really it. I just say my job is to have a conversation with you. Normally that lets their guard down a little bit, and allows me to book the appointment.
Yeah.
So
honestly too, if you start getting a couple not interested in such, call them. Yeah. I've done that as well. It helps clear everything up. But call them. But Taylor hit on the head. The blanket statement you can use is, my job is to go through the information, nothing else.
Yeah.
I tell people that all the time. Hey, my favorite thing that I tell people is that they say, I'm not interested. I say, well, you have to receive the information first to be not interested.
Yeah. Yeah.
But that's a whole.
Yeah. A lot of people they'll say not interested or unsubscribe or stop, whatever, because they think it's like an automated text or something like that. So a lot of times I'll just pick up the phone, call and say, hey, just so you know, I'm just a person. I'm just assigned to this request to go over the information with you. And a lot of times they'll be like, oh, I'm so sorry. I thought it was just a automated text or something. a robot. So once they see that there's an actual voice and a person on the other end of the line, a lot of times that lets their guard down. They're like, they'll book the appointment.
And send a photo of the form. If they send in a mail-in, send a photo of the form. That'll help out a lot.
It says Connor mentioned about a year ago in a video that when his group was able to watch actual appointments from the virtual, it made a huge difference to his group. Do you have these somewhere that we can watch to the live real appointments along with the training center clips? Guys, what we've done, we've simplified. The reason we had all those videos of live appointments because we didn't have it dialed in and making it really simple like we do now. So Noelle's video is the video. That's the video that we want you to watch because she's the best. She does the best presentation. So we want you watching that video. We're trying to keep this thing as simple as possible. And so follow hers. Says, why about the text response? I have enough through work. All right, kind of hit on that one when someone says they have enough coverage through work.
I would say, hey, John, no problem at all. My job is just to go through the information. What you do with the options is completely up to you. I just have to do my job. Let me know what time works for you. Thanks.
Keep it simple.
Yeah, here's the problem too, y'all, is don't turn into a lot of you follow the system to a T, but you're still going to be yourself. I mean, you don't want to text back robotic. Be honest. Hey, Sandy, no problem. My job's just to go through the options with you. You don't text back and go, work insurance is the worst. Because they're like, oh, this person's really just trying to sell me. But you tell them what your job is. My job is to go through the options.
So another one, it said, how do you, any suggestions for people with union benefits that follow them outside of retirement? How would you handle that, Taylor?
I'm in Texas, so I have honestly no idea. Connor?
We deal with a lot of union in Ohio.
Yeah, we don't deal with them at all.
So big piece of advice. Almost all union insurance, at least in the Midwest, is actually not through the union. It's through American Income Life. And I'm probably not supposed to talk about another insurance company, but their sales tactic is they carry around this little letter that says they work with the union, which is not true at all. They should honestly get in trouble for it. It's very deceptive. But all these clients go, oh yeah, I have a work insurance or union insurance. Oh, is that through American Income Life? Well, yeah. How'd you know? Oh, I just know things, right? Pull that policy out for me. But 9 times out of 10, if they have anything through work, the only companies where you can keep the insurance is like GM when you retire, and it goes from like 50,000 down to 10. Okay, they have to supplement anything over that. But all other work insurance, it goes from an employee benefit, so group policy, to an individual plan, and then the price, it skyrockets. So union, I haven't dealt with any actual union insurance. The only ones that can get tricky is VA insurance, which, by the way, just go to va.gov. It shows you all the information on it. But second would be people who actually retire from the military and people who are civilian workers with the military or the government. That's where it's a little bit different. But again, outlier. You don't need to be thinking about that. Just ask them to pull their policy out.
And here's how you cut that objection off at the end. When you're going through your needs analysis and you ask about any current life insurance, right? And you know they both work. Connor, you and Maddie, y'all got any coverage at work? You do, right? Yeah, awesome. Here's what I suggest you do. The human resource manager will come around about once a year, load up, get the max that they'll allow you to have, right? It's really good coverage because you're up under a group plan. I call it a group umbrella, right? It's really good coverage while you work there. The only negative with it, Connor, is the day you decide to better yourself and take another job, or if you ever got sick and had to leave that job, or especially when you retire, guess what happens to that coverage? You lose it. And 9 times out of 10, well, they'll be bobbing their head, yes, right? So I categorize that. I put it over to the side. That way, at the end of my presentation, that's not an objection because we've already established that it's awesome coverage. I'm bragging on it, okay? I'm encouraging them to even get more, right? But we've established that they're going to lose it when they retire. So it's very important to have something outside of their job, Okay. It says,
and I would write this down, Nick, real quick. If they have one of the best ways to get around work insurance as well, ask if they've changed jobs before. Ask them if they've kept that old insurance. But always explain it as it's also like health insurance. Hey, Noel, when you left the last job, did you keep the health insurance? Oh no, it skyrocketed. Same thing with your insurance. You just don't notice as much because you're still young. So the price of insurance is not that much, but it's gonna spike just like the health insurance. So anyways, that's a great way to explain it.
And most people don't die while they're working. Most people get sick, they lose their job, they lose those benefits. So that's another way to just take work insurance off is, hey, most people, work insurance is great if you get in an accident, but most people don't die while they're still working. They get sick, you go into treatment for months, years, whatever it is, you lose those benefits, and now you're uninsurable because, something happened. So just...
It says, once they respond via text with the time, do you pick up the phone to tie it down further? No. Your best appointments will have the time. When they respond and they're booking an appointment, they'll say 5:30.
Yep.
Got it. I'll send a confirmation text later and send that confirmation text later. Let's see. Where can I find Noel's presentation? Step 6 on the virtual training is there. Can you provide some situations where a client would not need the coverage besides already having a term or whole life policy? You know of any situations where someone would not need the coverage?
I mean, if they've got just a ton of money sitting in the bank, I'm talking a couple million, like in a investment account or something like, I don't know. Yeah, that's why I said 9 times out of 10, someone's going to need the insurance once you actually sit down with them and go through the situation. So if it comes up to it and they don't need the insurance, that's why you book 6 to 8 appointments. So you're not worried about that one if they don't need it.
Otto, you said, is that true for all work insurance? Do you know that for a fact they will lose their coverage? 9 times out of 10, yes, they'll lose their coverage. The 1 time out of 10 that they let them keep it, it's like Connor said, it decreases down, okay, or the premium goes up on them. It's a group term policy, okay? So, just know that. But it's very important to get something outside job. And like Connor said, a lot of time, I had this situation this week. It was a husband and wife. She worked for Walmart for 35 years. Now she's a secretary at State Farm. She lost all her work insurance at Walmart that she had for 35 years when she left and took another job. So when I said that, she was like, yep, just like when I did, you lose it. So people know. Any more questions? Guys, anything in closing today?
Look up your name.
And make sure, y'all, like, that was actually a really good question about work insurance. And realize as well, you can look a lot of this up on the internet. And it is good to know a few of these things. But here's what I will tell y'all. Like when Nick starts talking about certain pieces that he does in his presentation and how he explains things to clients, for you, that's a fact. It is a fact. Because it is also a fact that Nick Burns is writing $10,000 to $20,000 a week and you're not. So anything he says is fact. So like if you're sitting back too, don't question the system. You dive in completely, right? Like when we say, hey, this is the play that we're running, don't say, well, I think this would work better. Wrong, right? Like, and again, like great question asking where the Noel video is. It's on the 8-step guide up. That 8-step guide up that's your holy grail. That's how you make all your money. That's how you make $1 million. You follow the 8-step guide up. And do you know how you recruit? You have other people do the 8-step guide up, right? But also as well, make sure that when you ever have breaks, one thing Barry talked about as well is during business hours, do something that's going to help you make money, right? If it's running appointments, recruiting. But here's another thing that all of you forget. Training. Matt Dubner hit on it, right? If you want to be paid like a professional, you have to be a professional. Right? Start waking up in the morning, right? Dress nice, right? Get a haircut, which I have one tomorrow. I'm going crazy. But be a professional. Watch the videos. If you have a break, if you get a no-show, watch a video, okay? You go, well, I've already watched the video 5 times. Well, you're not doing something right. You need to go back and watch the Noel video. That Noel video could literally solve all of your problems if you'd actually watch it and listen to it. All right. Take some notes, practice, record yourself. It's Noel. People, I mean, we've cut your video now to where we've explained what you talk about. We've had you do all these recordings. It's like, come on, right? But go on. We had a similar video with the Rob Jones, and I think everybody on here, even Mike Hall will tell you, that's the video he used to learn mortgage protection. So, and that's still on the training site too.
Taylor?
No, just go. I mean, you've got to be all in on this business. There's no 1 foot in, 1 foot out, 90% in, 10% out. You got to be 100% in. And you got to get your mind right every single day before you start anything. At least I do. And for a long time, I had to trick myself into being in a great mood and being super excited to do anything. And eventually that just became my mindset. And I still have to work on it every single day. And it's something that I don't think any of us will sit up here, any elite producer, like we have the exact same problems we had on day one, but we know how to deal with them now just because of experience. And we know that when we have these trials and these struggles, that it's all going to work out because we're doing the work that's going to make it all work out. The only time I've ever had problems in this business is when my activity wasn't where it needed to be.
Boom.
That's it. Activity solves every single problem. You won't be worried about that one that you didn't sell or that one that had VA insurance, that this and that. Like, you ain't worried about those things. You're just looking for the people that are interested and that you can help. So go book up your day, put in more appointments than you think you can handle, because I promise it'll work out in the end. So
yeah. I had this down earlier when I was doing some reading. Self-discipline is the only discipline that lasts. You know, Barry says this all the time. He's never seen anybody with longevity in this business that wasn't self-motivated. These guys that you see right here, they're not motivated by anybody on this call. You will inspire them with you doing well in this because it gets them going a little bit more. But your success or lack of success won't depend on their success because they're choosing to be successful every day, right? And it said this: giving yourself too many options dilutes discipline. Giving yourself too many options dilutes discipline. When you're trying to do so many things, it dilutes your discipline. Pick a lane. Focus on booking 8 appointments a day. Be a savant, be a gym rat. Watch Noel's video over and over and over again. Don't worry about product. Book 8 appointments a day. Focus on Noel's video. You're going to make some money and you're going to get better at it, right? You focus on those 2 things, right? Noel's video and booking appointments, you'll start upping your lead investment, right? Your whole everything will become better if you just focus on those 2 things: being good at that presentation and booking 8 appointments a day. Connor, yesterday, fought like crazy, had 4 appointments. Okay, I had 4 appointments. At 3:00, I went in and bought 14 more A leads. All right, I'm at over 13 grand in 2 days this week. I only had 4 appointments yesterday, Noel. All right, I went in at 3:00 and bought 14 more A leads because I know today I've got to have 8 appointments. All right, my 4 appointments, my first one was a dud. My second one was a dud. My third one no-showed me. My fourth one was a dud, right? But Noel, what if I'd had 8 appointments? All right, I went blank yesterday because I only had 4 appointments. Let me say that again. I went blank yesterday because I only had 4 appointments. What if I would have had 8 appointments and those first 4 would have been duds? I still had 4 more. I'd had confidence. I would have wrote 2 to 3 grand or more yesterday if I would have had my 8 appointments. That's this business, guys. It really is that simple. You've got to book the appointments. I know your frustration because when I have 4 appointments or if I have 5, I get frustrated because I don't do well. But for some reason, Connor, when I get 6, when I get 7, when I get 8, that's where the magic takes place. Guys, go get your 8 today. Watch your whole world change. Thank you for all your questions. We'll be back at it in the morning.